Hello. Yeah, so I had some issues previously, and yeah, hope it will all work out now. Say hi in the chat. Great, so we're live, finally. Finally. Yeah, I ran into all sorts of problems here previously when I tried to live stream. OBS crashed, the camera wouldn't show up in OBS, and then the battery ran out of my keyboard, and yeah, everything went to hell. To hell and back. Who's here today? Say hi in the chat. So we're gonna have a look at some Bitwig stuff. Gonna go through the drum machine. There's been some questions on the community and in some comments regarding working with the drum machine in Bitwig, contrary working in something like FL Studio with drums. And we might also look into some exporting tracks with effects, like bouncing with effects, and some other stuff. And if you have any type of questions or topics you want me to bring up here, just shoot that in the chat. Testing. Just gonna see if the chat even pops up in the window. Apparently it works. Like so. Rup. I'm posting the new link here to the live stream on the Discord channel. It's really irritating that if it takes too long, you can't reconnect to the same live stream. Shit happens. Shit happens all the time. Cheers! So you grabbed any cool plugins on the Black Friday deals? I am running, you've probably seen that, but I am running a Black Friday discount up to 75% on all my courses, preset packs, and sample packs. So it's a great time to grab one of my courses and even the course bundles. So check them out. There's a link in the description to the live stream or the video if you're watching this in later in time. That's the link. Right, so let's dig into Bitwig. Also let me know if the audio is okay today. Right, so let's look at the drum machine to begin with. First out, like always, we can just press the plus sign here to search for devices, presets, samples, anything. But we're going to search for a drum, so we get to the drum machine. And if you look closely here to the right, you'll see a little arrow. And clicking that will bring up the presets available for the drum machine. So you can instantly load the drum machine and also some kind of kit. And the cool thing about this is if you click any of these kits, they will preload. So you can preview them. Let's see if we can find some cool kit. I usually don't use the presets here myself, but it's always fun to dig through them and see if you can find something useful. Dogs on acid. And as you can see, by default we have 16 slots available, but you can always select to the left side here in the drum machine if you want to access or view the other slots in the machine. I think there's like 128 different slots in here. That's some really tight cut samples. I like the snare. The snare. Maybe I'll replace the kick there, but let's add this one. So you just press OK and you will effectively load the drum machine. Right, so in the slots here we can press play to audition the slot, and you can also solo and mute the different slots in here, quite obvious. And you can of course also press the plus key and add different things in here. You can add samples, you can add any of these digital like drum machines that's available. So maybe we can add a V8 snare in this slot, which is one of the digital drum machines of Bitwig. And now it's available on the F key. And you can tune in the drums too. Let's add a pattern so we don't have to click all the time, because I know it goes into the microphone up here, so you just hear all the clickings. The clickety clicks. So we're gonna open the clip launcher and I add a little drum beat. So I'm just double clicking to add a clip, and then we click the clip to enter the clip. Enter the clip. Something like that. A little bit slow tempos, let's increase that to 175. You can see if you make the notes too short, by default it's gonna cut at the drum sound, because if we press D and look at the drum machine, take a look at the kick here, it has, let's see, maybe you don't see that, but yeah. Gonna minimize like that. Well, the release is like at the lowest setting, so if you release the key earlier, it's gonna be like cut off the sound, so we can just increase the release like that. You can also increase the decay. Let's add some in-between ghost notes. We have that sound, that sample on G, which is like a light ghost note on the drums. So we can add those in between. I'm actually gonna rename those because it's not obvious what kind of sound is it by just reading the name here, Hit Me. Ghost note. It's gonna be easier to find the notes. And we can add some ghost notes. Sounds a little bit like robotic and yeah, robotic, so we can just open the velocity lane. So we can adjust the velocities of these. Maybe we can also pitch these. And maybe reduce the volume. Now the thing is with these specific slots, or the devices in the different slots, you can see it's samplers within the slots, and the samplers contain the waveform. But you don't have any like direct controls to control the panning or volume instantly from the slots. You have to either go in here and select the slot, and then go into the actual slot. And if we go for this kick, for example, you need to click the kick, and then go in here and adjust the output volume or the velocity sensitivity, which is how this specific sampler is affected by the velocity of the keyboard. And of course the panning. But a much easier way is just to open the mixer. And yeah, you can see we have this track called MD New Jazz. And if you look in the mixer, you have a little like folder icon. You can see this little folder on the top. And if you click that, you're gonna expand and see all the separate slots that's available for the track. The slots that contains some kind of sampler or some kind of device. And now it's gonna be much easier to mix these different slots. So that's how you access the mixing capabilities of the drum machine. Because as I mentioned, if you just close these and look at a drum machine device by default, it just contains the slots, and you have this little preview button and a main output volume and the main panning. But you probably want to adjust separate volumes and separate panning for the different slots. So just open this little folder, and then you have access to all the different mixing capabilities. So now we can just play back this and maybe add some effects and processing on the drum kit. Maybe we want this the ghost notes here to pan. Or how about we add a modulator to adjust the panning for that specific track. Just for the fun of it, we're not going to use that later on, but I'm going to show you just how you can do it. So you can just add a modulator on the track. So we're going to open that ghost note device again. And on the sampler the sampler that plays this specific sample, we're gonna add a modulator. So we press that little skeleton key or the modulator, show modulators button down here. And we can add something like classic LFO. And you press the LFO to expand. And we're gonna attach this. And we're gonna attach, hope you can see this because my image might be in the way. Gonna fix that. Like so. Yeah, so we can attach this modulator, this low frequency oscillation to a parameter, and we're gonna attach it to the left and right panning of this sampler. So press the source learn or the mapping, and then we're gonna attach the mapping to the panning. And now we can see how that sways from left to right. Just make it a little bit slower. And what if we add a delay to that to get some ping pong delay on top of that? So we go to that track in the mixer. We have the ghost note. So you go down here and we add an effect after the sampler, post the sampler. And let's add the delay plus. Maybe it needs to be a little faster. So now we have some really cool like stereo movement with this ghost notes, with the ghost notes. Boba Fett, hi there, welcome. Let's add a little bit of just a light reverb on the snare too. It's a little bit dry. So we're gonna add Valhalla Room. Can of course use the Bitwig stock reverb, but I feel it's a little bit too cold. So let's use the Valhalla Room reverb or Valhalla Supermassive. Did anyone try the new Valhalla reverb? The Valhalla Future. Something like that. Now the kick still sounds horrible, but we can always replace that with some other kick. So let's go into the browser and see if we can find some nice kick. Rubbish. Some really soft kicks there, but yeah, maybe we can use one of the drum machines that comes with Bitwig. So what we can do here is just drag the kick we have at the moment and just drag that to another slot, say C2 an octave up, and we get an empty, now we have the empty C1 slot here. So let's press the plus sign and we can add the V, yeah, maybe V9 kick. Just search for V9. So that's a 909 kick. And V8 is obviously going to be an 808 kick, if that's what you're after. Yeah, that's awesome, Boba Fett. Happy to share some Bitwig ideas here. Good to have you going. V9. So now we instantly have a more pleasing sound suitable for the drum and bass, maybe. I'm just doing a little bit of fine-tuning here on the kick to make it work with the snare. Boosting the snare a little bit around the fundamental frequency. You can see the frequency spectrum on this equalizer. And if you look at the lower region and you have some bumps, and the lowest bump is probably going to be your fundamental frequency for the snare. And it can be a good idea to boost that frequency if the sound of the snare sounds a little bit too flat. And I think it's sounding a little bit flat by default, so boosting that, as you can hear, brings out the pop and yeah, the note of the snare. So that's the flat sound, just it's more like a white noise kind of snare. But then if we bring out the pop a little bit more, I'm gonna exaggerate it a little bit so you can hear the pop more. Something like that. So without, super flat. So we just need a tad of a reverb, I think, to make the snare a little bit more alive and yeah. So let's add some hi-hats in there. And again, it's some silly names here on in many of the kits. They've been a little bit lazy here on the namings, but you can always just select one of the slots and like we can do with the tracks, just press Command R and you'll be able to rename that. So hi-hat 1 and maybe hi-hat 2 or hi-hat light and hi-hat hard. So now it's easier to see that in when you're programming. for the sub. Maybe we can actually extend this loop so we don't have that repeating stuff happening too often or too frequently. So we can double click that clip, zoom out. I'm just taking hold of the timeline here and dragging downwards, dragging upwards to zoom in, to drag downwards, and we'll extend that to cover 2 bars. Select all your notes, press Command D to duplicate, and if the clips or the notes happen to appear somewhere else, we can just drag them back to the correct point, because I think it's, if I select like this, it's gonna look at this white region, and it's gonna repeat everything within that white region to the next place. So make sure you make the selection from the correct point here, rather than like I did first time, selecting from this area. Now you can see the white region here covers a lot more extra beats here. So when I duplicate, it's going to duplicate from the end of this region selection, like so, which is going to be off. So make sure you just make the selection in the correct place here. Command D. Oops, again. Sorry. Like so. So you make the selection from the beginning, and the exact start and the end. And Command D. Now we can get rid of those extra. Maybe find some other percussion we can add in there. So we're going to search for perk. It's just fun listening to your loops and then going through a few samples and see if you can find something that fits. So just audition some sounds while you play back your drum loops. Maybe add a little smack in there, percussion maracas. So we're going to drag that from the browser panel into a slot. Now we have a little smack there, so we can add that to our loop. Feel free to ask any type of questions while I'm here in the live stream. If you have any type of questions, maybe on the courses or some other type of questions on the Black Friday sales or anything, just shoot here in the chat. We're gonna add some effects on that smack too. So again, we can just open the mixer, press tab, and then expand our drum machine. And we can see all the slots. So now we can add effects to the different slots. So go to the maracas, and after the sampler, we're going to add something fun, like a reverb. Let's try the future reverb, the new one from Valhalla. I just have the demo, so it's going to cut out the sound. But oops, that's a little bit long. So reduce the decay. Sounds odd. So I'm gonna remove that and add something else, maybe a delay instead. I'm just experimenting a little bit with the sound to get something useful from the sound. Experimenting is always fun and encouraged. That's what we're doing with sound design. Experimenting, having fun. Maybe add some kind of pitch effect to pitch the delays, so the delays gets pitched in different ways. So let's try that with the feedback effects. So we're going to open the feedback effect loop of the delay and add a pitch shifter. Maybe use the kilohertz pitch shifter. Yeah, let's use the Bitwig pitch shifter. Yeah, so now we have some fun effects on the drums. Right, so we also had a question regarding like bouncing tracks in Bitwig. So now that we have that clip, we can always make that clip appear in our timeline if we want. And one way to like export this loop as audio is just dragging the clip and then holding the Alt key, and then we're gonna get this as let's see here, it's did they change it? Let's add an audio track. Yeah, Command and Alt. I think they changed the key command from when I last used this function. So Command and Alt, and you'll export that clip as audio if you want to like time stretch it and make weird stuff with that. Rup. For some weird reason. Maybe make it shorter like that. Weird stuff. Yeah, another way is to just play back the track, hit record, and play this. So now we have it in the arrangement, the clip launching. And if we press this little button up here, you will turn to audition the actual MIDI from the arrangement rather than listening to the clip launching for that track. And you can shift that for separate tracks also. So now you're auditioning the MIDI from the actual track rather than the clip. So there you have 2 bars of drums, or rather 4 bars of drums, and Command Alt and just drag this, begin dragging and Command Alt and drag that to another track to get it as audio. Gonna mute the top track. And maybe also activate repeat. So that way you bounce the audio with all the effects and stuff. You can hear all the delays and stuff that were on the original track. And the same thing if we would add like an effect on the total drum machine. So if we go either into the mixer like this and after the drum machine we add some kind of effect. Just for the sake of demonstration, maybe add a filter. So we're gonna add a filter plus. And let's just diminish the size for all these. And we're gonna audition the drum loop again. Really smash the drums. A lot of new subscribers, that's wonderful. Thanks for subscribing here to Matthias Bitwig Lab channel. Good to have you aboard. So say that you want to do something weird like that with an effect. Maybe we can automate that either with an automation clip. And in Bitwig 6 they've changed this a little bit so we can press the A key and we get to see like all the automation like we do in something like Logic Pro or something. And as you can see, if I touch the different parameters, if we look at the track, that's the parameter that's going to be available for automation. So we're going to automate the cutoff of the filter. Something like that. Ta-ba-dum, ba-dum. Maybe increase like the top resonance for each of these pew pew, just like so. So they increase in intensity. Maybe also we have the lower region rising for each. So we have like a before a drop or something. Now you can always hold the Alt key in the Bitwig 6 and turn this into an automation clip. So it's a separate automation clip that we can fiddle with and move around. Like so. So now if we export this with Command and Alt, it's just gonna export the default. But if you want to export this with a whole like effect that comes from the track. So you see, it doesn't export the other like stuff that's happening at the device level when we do the audio. We're converting MIDI to audio. But what we can do is either set the input of this track to the output of this track, or we can just right click and make a bounce in place, or bounce like that. Select pre-effects, pre-fader. Here we can basically select how we want to do that. Bounce. Let's do it pre-fader. That's like before the volume. So now you get all the effects applied on the bounce. But you can always make another type, and it's really good to know about this like routing, the routing system within Bitwig. I always talk about this, especially in the courses, that first out you have the input of a track. So if you go to the audio track in this case, we have an input for the audio track, and then the signal or the audio goes through the arrangement or the clip launching. So we can record into the clip launcher, you can record into the arrangement. And post the arrangement and clip launching, the audio goes through the device chain at the bottom here. And it's really important to understand this concept when you're working in Bitwig, how the audio flows through the system. And then after the chain, it actually arrives at the master meter, the master level and the fader. So if we want to reroute the audio from this track and record that on another track, you can select the audio 9 here, and we go to the input section for that track. And we can select the output from our MD New Jazz. I'm just going to rename this because it doesn't make sense. Drum track. That does make sense much more. So we select the input from the drum track. And here you have multiple ways of selecting just single chains, just output from one of the single slots within the drum machine. We can select the output. We can select the filter output if we want to have the filter signal, or we can just select the drum track pre or post the volume or the fader. So let's select post so we get like the actual output of that track. You can see it's set to minus 12 dB, not minus 12 dB, but we're going to increase it so it's at around 0 dB, we're just below. And we're going to record that. So now we can see, if we activate record, you can see the input level meter here corresponds to the output level of our drum track. So now we have everything set up to record the output of the above track into our new Audio 9 track. So just hit the record and press play. I'm actually gonna remove the repeat and just extend so we record just a little bit later on too. Press play and just record. Like so. And we get a little bit of slug percussion at the end, but we can always just adjust the clip so it matches perfectly with our previous clip. So that's also one way to get audio from other tracks, like a mix down. But you can also do this on groups, so you input the group output into this track, which will get all the audio from a group. So say that we have a piano, maybe some synths or guitars like above here. We can just merge these into a group. Just select all the tracks and press Command G. So we get them all into a group. Just close the group. And then we can input the group output into this audio track. If you want to record a whole group, maybe you have a couple of synths and you want them summed like a submix or a stem, AI stem. So we're just going to select the group master, pre or post, which is pre or post the fader. So that's one way to merge groups into a submix and record them on a separate track. Questions on that? Not? Yeah, it does sound weird. But that's just to show how you can bounce audio or record audio from other tracks. Because this question pops up a lot. Right, so let's talk a little bit about sidechaining delay, because there was some question on Discord from one of our users. You there, Annie? Please leave a like here on the stream or the video if you like my content here. It encourages the YouTube algorithm to share my video and stream and make the channel more recognizable and appear in the noise. There's so much noise on YouTube these days. So much hate and rage and noise. Yeah, so let's on this track, well, let's just create something else. Anyone knows the track? Let me know here in the chat. So let's record that. I'm just going to mute the drums for now. And then we're going to add some effects also on this piano. I think I need to change the tempo so it works with, because it's very fast tempo. Gonna make that loop. And we need to reduce the volume on this track because it's already like hitting into the red or going above 0 dB. I usually have my tracks at about -10 something, or -6, -10. It depends on what kind of track I'm working on. It's really good to be like aware of your volumes prior to the master fader. Sometimes I do add like a gain meter or tool device, which is the name for the gain device in Bitwig, on the master, and just reduce the volume on the master, because since it's internal 32 or 64-bit, 32 bits floating point in the many music applications, even if you go into the red on the separate tracks, you can still control the volumes and reduce it on the master. So let's get a sweet piano sound on that. I'm gonna reduce the tempo a little while I record that, because I'm sloppy playing today. Normalize the volumes a little bit so we have a more like floating same volume. And let's extend the drum loop so we can get that second chord also. So I'm gonna extend this for a few bars, so we can have like 2 bars of this maybe. Or just like 4 bars of that, and then we're gonna change that to So we'll record that. And I made a little change there just on the last note to have a little bit of variation at the end. And let's, I think it's quite tight, but let's make it more robotic. Pressing Q to quantize the clip. And now we can just repeat that. Command D. Let's add a new instrument track and let's call up the polymer synth. No, we're gonna call up Serum 2 and use one of my pad sounds from a preset pack that I made called Atlantia. You can grab this for just a few dollars on my web shop today, since it's Black Friday. And I'm gonna use the Poly Aftertouch Laguna patch. And that way I can control the depth of the filter with the key pressures. I get the smooth sound. A little bit loud maybe, just reduce that a lot. I'm gonna use the E flat minor. Then we have B major to the A flat minor, just to get some variation in the chords. But it's a nice, sweet little progression. Really sad chords, but what do you do? Now we can actually increase the volume of the piano, I think, because it's quite too far in the background. How about we add some bass or some kind of pad below? Maybe some kind of pumping pad. Pumpity pump. Or something that works on the 16th notes or 8 notes. Maybe we can do that also with Serum 2. Or, yeah, it's a Bitwig video, so let's use the polymer synth instead. Bum ba bum. So we're gonna go in there and add some notes. Notice. Gonna make I think we're gonna make an instrument layer so we can have a top layer of the bass and also a sub layer of the bass. So we are gonna add the instrument layer. So we can have 2 instances of the polymer synth. And the top one is gonna be stereo and the low one, let's just name it like mid and low, and the low one is just going to be pure mono, and we do that with this stereo detune feature. So deactivate that for the low one and make sure it's below. So now we have a quite rich bass, stereo for the mid range and then monophonic sub bass. And we obviously need to reduce the volume a little bit. Maybe some saturation on the top layer or the mid layer. And we're gonna move down this to the B note. Just making sure this clip is unique. Da 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 dum. To the B, and then on the final chord we have that. Don't select all the notes. Okay. Consolidate. Rup. Because it was looped clips, we need to have them consolidated so we can make changes to individual notes. And then on the final 2 bars we have that A flat. Maybe go up an octave. How about we try some delay on the mid-range bass? Just to fill in the in-betweens. The in-between notes. Delay plus again. Always love to use the delay plus. Just because there's so much options. And now is a good time to use the ducking feature, so you don't have the bass and the delays on top of each other. It's gonna be a little bit too muddy. It's subtle, but I think it works. Let me know what you think. Now I'm adding just a filter and some equalization on the pad to hone in and tune the sound a little bit to work with the other sounds. Just how I perceive and I want the mix to behave. And these are all subtle changes and individual changes. Maybe change the bass phrasing a little bit. just experimenting. Probably a little bit easier to see if it's not just the gray notes. But we're just experimenting with the notes a bit. I need to zoom in to access a deeper grid. Ba-ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. A really cool thing you can do if you want to create some epic leads is, let's just use maybe the pulse. And we're gonna add a really fast LFO to the amplitude. Some amplitude modulation. Classic LFO. So can you really make the sounding like it's like burning, sort of, like it's deconstructing, like it's destroyed a little bit. And now we can adjust that like amount of distraction with the amount here. Now it's pure. And now it's burning. Now let's just add some tasty Valhalla Supermassive, and we have a nice lead. Coming up with a melody, always the hardest part. gonna go with that phrase. Yeah, no worries, stereotype. Good to have you listening in. So I'm gonna record something and we'll see if some melody pops up. So I'm tuning in this lead sound to have its own little pocket in the mix. So we still get the brightness from maybe the pad and that piano a little bit. So every instrument had their own little pocket and place in the mix. So it's easier to navigate and listen to the whole thing. And maybe add some guitars on top of this. Who knows? Anything goes. Ba-ba-dum, ba-da-bum. That also works. I'm just gonna deactivate the microphone briefly so we can record some guitar. Ba-ba-dum, ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-bum. Let's see if I can record that. Fuck! Fucking nej! Stuff happens. Here I'm just going into the recording and making sure I'm just having the first take. Because when the loop returns to the beginning, it starts to record the second take. So let's get the right microphone timing on again. Now we can process the guitar and get it to fit in the mix. have the volume quite high when I record either guitar and vocals and stuff, so you can more easily hear the mistakes and stuff, and then I just reduce the volume for the track. Maybe just a light reverb on that so we get a little bit of a room. I could, when I do this like acoustic recordings or guitar recordings, I often record like one guitar and place that left, and then a second guitar and place that right, so you get a very wide stereo image. But due to time restraints, I'm not going to do that here. It's a quite dead room up here in the studio, so I usually add a little bit of room reverb. Now there's one thing we can do. We can add an effect chain. Maybe an effect layer. Or the sidechain filter. Let's add a chain. And add a delay. Quite cool with some automation on that to get a little bit of vibrato. Let's add a classic LFO and add some vibrato. Experimenting again. So it becomes like a chorus effect basically. We could use a chorus too, but again, experimenting. Let's add a very subtle effect on that. So this is without, and this is a with effect. We pan this one to the right a little bit. Quite nice stereo effect, I think. Now we have a lot of small pieces to select from when we want to build an arrangement or track around this. So we can just take everything, Command D, and duplicate these a few times. And then we can maybe mute the lead synth here in the beginning by pressing Alt A. Maybe also muting the bass. Maybe even mute the drums for the beginning. And the pad also. And added those filtered drums just for the fun of it. And maybe have that for 2 bars, so we're gonna cut all the regions here in after 2 bars, or 4 bars. And then we're gonna delete all these, and move back the rest of the arrangement. Like so, I think. Now we have 2 bars of like intro. Get rid of the guitar. Hello. Yeah, and then we can get rid of the guitar when we have the lead melody coming in, so we don't have too many like instruments fighting. But we're also gonna get rid of a little bit of a low end on the drum intro. So we're gonna add equalizer or a filter. Let's just add filter plus and deactivate the LFO so it doesn't affect the filter, and just change this to a silent key, high pass, 18 dB per octave. Now it sounds much more impactful and pleasing when the actual drum beat hits. Something like this. If you feel that like the kick gets lost in the mix, there are several reasons to fix that. But if we go into the drum machine, you can see that already we have the drum or the kick hitting at minus 1.8 dB. We can just solo the kick. It's actually minus 11 dB. Let's do like this. Maybe drive it a little bit harder. But we can of course also add a sidechain. So just to go to the group, because we have everything in a group. Except the drums, so we can just mute the group. we have only the drums, so we can add a sidechain on the group. So press D and we're going to open the device for the group. We can also close the group. Let's remove the shaker track. And on the group track, let's add the tool device. And we can insert an audio sidechain modulator and take the input from the drum track pre-fader. And then attach the modulator to the volume. Now we get the whole drum track, but we just want a kick, so we go into the drum track and we go into new jazz chains and just select the kick pre. We can also go into the kick output. And you might need to adjust the volume here, the input volume for the sidechain, in order to get a decent amount of ducking, like a volume reduction on the group as soon as the kick hits. And yeah, sorry. Yeah, I had some real problems setting up the stream previously today, because I usually stream on my other channel, and now when I selected the other YouTube channel, this Matthias Bitwig Lab channel in OBS, I got all sorts of different weird problems when I tried to stream. And OBS crashed on me, the streaming software. And I had a bunch of other problems, like batteries in the keyboard, ran out of batteries, but here we are. Hopefully you can rewatch the stream from the beginning. But feel free to ask any type of questions while I'm here. So we're gonna overdo this ducking so you can really hear how the kick is pushing down the rest of the music. So you can hear the difference between when we activate this tool sidechain device and effects on and off, so to speak, bypassed. So bypassed, the whole mix sounds kind of floating, and it's not that as impactful. Sometimes that's also totally fine. It all depends on what kind of track, and it's also your decision. You're the decision maker for the production. You're the master of your own music. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Yeah. Yeah, I hope you'll get some useful tips from the stream. And when we have the tool device active, you can hear a much more impact in the percussion, in the kick. Maybe add some choir. Just gonna save the project. What is it? November 28th? Vocal collection. Just want a little bit of a fill there. Not choirs all the time, but just a little fill. Maybe I can take that out of the group. Let's see how that sounds. Gonna try fun little thing here. Sorry for the delays. Reprogram some drums into half step. Whoop. Yeah, now we're talking. Do-do-do. Love halftime. Hello. There we go. Four. Okay, so I think that's all for today, for this stream. Gotta go grab some Swedish fika, have a cup of coffee, and check on some other stuff. It's my sister's 50th birthday today, so we're off for grab some snacks later on. But yeah, hope you had a nice time here in the stream. I know it's early, but it's the only time I could make the stream, this Bitwig stream today. So yeah, hope you enjoy everything here we did today, and any type of questions on the stuff we talked about, just shoot them in the chat or in our Discord channel. There's a link to our Discord in the description. And as always, make sure you follow this channel so you don't miss out on the upcoming videos. So I think that's all for today. See you in the next one. Have a nice evening. Happy Friday. And don't forget to check out my Black Friday sale over at edu.morningdomedia.com. Is the vocal sidechain included, or can we quickly cover it? I did add a sidechain to the whole mix at this point, and I did add ducking to the delay, so you'll see how you can add the ducking to the delay if you have delay plus, but you can always do that with the sidechain tool too. So we do cover that in the video at some point. Let's see if I can quickly find that sound. Yeah, if you listen to this piano, I'm gonna deactivate Valhalla Shimmer and activate the Delay Plus. So you can see if I add a mix here, increase the mix to the delay, you start to have like a too muddy sound because all the delay taps interfere with the original sound. So what you do is increase the ducking, which is gonna reduce the mix level as soon as you have incoming audio. That means if you have a guitar playing, or in this case the piano playing, it will totally remove the sound of the delay taps. So you get a less muddy sound while you have like someone singing or something. And then as soon as they stop singing, the volume or the mix level is gonna increase up to that offset point, or that point you have set, the value we've set on the mix level. So we're going to listen to the end section and really make a long feedback on the delay so you can really hear how the effect works. Listen to the end here. So I'm going to increase the ducking like to maximum. So as soon as the audio from the piano stops coming in as an input signal to the delay, it's gonna reduce or increase the mix. I mean, it's reducing the mix level. But if we just remove the ducking, maybe I can just fix the filter a bit. So now my arpeggio sounds very muddy, and this is what I'm playing. Sounds very clean without any delay, but if I add the delay, it's just a mush of tones or notes. So what you can do is just increase the ducking. So the effect gets more pronounced as soon as you stop playing or singing. And I can just quickly add an audio track, and we just drag that delay effect to the audio track. Pa-pa-pum, pa-pum. And we can try the same thing. Let's see. It's like so. So now we have the audio incoming here on the track. Just need to set the correct input. It's probably going to be a delay here between my mouth and the audio, but we're going to listen to the effect. But without any ducking, you're going to have too much delay going on all the time like this, and it's going to sound mushy. Even though I'm alone, even though I'm alone. And if we increase the ducking, even though I'm alone, I can't remember what I missed, that it might be you. Even though. So that's just add the ducking here, and you will only hear the delays, or most of the delays, as soon as someone stops speaking. But there's other ways to make this effect too. If you have a reverb, yeah, ducking is the trick. Ta-ba-bum, ba-bum. Ta-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum. So if you have something like this, you can also make it happen. So if you have reverb like this, you can just open the modulators and then add the audio sidechain. And we can make the sidechain reduce the reverb amount. Let's see here. Hop, 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 hop. Yeah, just the same device input, and then reduce. Up, 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 up. And a long tail. So now as soon as I talk like this, da 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 da, the reverb will be totally reduced, as you can see on the mix knob here. But as soon as I let go, yeah, maybe reduce the fall off a little bit. Bah! Hello! Why? Hi there, unfazed. Welcome to the live. Like so! Hello! Even though da-ba-da, just trying out some effects. Bum, da-da-da. So now we have an effect duck. Just showing off some ducking. Duckly ducks. Which game? Man. That's a long reverb. Yeah, so that's how sidechaining and ducking is possible in Bitwig Studio. Hope that made sense. I got a little bit carried away there with the melodies. But it's always fun when you come up with a few riffs and stuff. I'm gonna record that later on. Yeah, so now I'm finally heading off here today. So have a nice Black Friday, everybody. Bye.